Today we're going to talk about taxation. Now, there's been this debate going on about, oh my god, I just ate like really spicy food and it gets spicier the next day. Like, it's super spicy. Oh my god, my tongue is on fire. So there's been this debate about taxation and what is the solution to the U.S.'s deficit issue. Now, if you want my personal opinion, there is a deficit issue, and we need to plug that hole up. So I think everybody's in agreement, in accordance with that. But I would argue that there's no political will to fix this. And everybody's talking about the debt issue like, oh my god, everybody is rainbows and sunshines in Congress and they're coming together to fix the problem. And no one's talking about how it's not politically feasible for that to happen. The reason why is because everybody who talks about the deficit are finance channels, and from a clear finance perspective, the way to fix the deficit is to reduce spending and levy more taxes. And the reason for that is simple math, right? Reduce outlays, increase revenue, less deficit. But no one is talking about the political inability for that to happen. In order for that to happen, Congress has to pass bills, and nobody talks about Congress when it comes to the deficit, even though they're the only entity that can control that. I'll give you a great example. The corporate tax rate was around 90% in the 1950s, and it's gone down ever since. If there was a will to plug up the deficit, why hasn't the corporate tax rate gone up once since the 80s when Reagan cut it? Even the Biden administration, who, was the most progressive administration since the Teddy Roosevelt administration, didn't raise corporate taxes. The one big thing they did for corporations was introduce a 1% excise tax for share buybacks. Even then, you have politicians who agree that the deficit needs to be plugged up somehow. They don't even agree on how it should be done, right? Like, the one big beautiful bill that passed is gonna, skyrocket the deficit. And Rand Paul, who's a deficit hawk and Republican, didn't like it because it didn't cut enough of the government assistance programs. Then, on the other hand, you may have people who want to raise taxes, which obviously someone like Rand Paul would not want because he's made arguments that taxes should not be raised. On top of that, you have legislation like the Inflation Reduction Act, which from a mathematical perspective would have given $200 billion to pay off part of the deficit, and that got repealed in the One Big Beautiful Bill. So there's no political will to do it. And if I'm wrong, someone please give me a piece of legislation or a policy that has carried through multiple administrations that would help with this deficit issue. But until then, talking about the deficit as if there's some magical solution to fix it, like there's some political will to fix it, is an absolutely false narrative. And we need to start talking about how there's no political will to do it. And in order to fix that, you're going to need people to be invested in politics and understand that if they want the deficit to not be an issue, they need to vote people in who are willing to raise taxes. For what it's worth, I think the One Big Beautiful Bill is a horrible bill, and I think it cuts government assistance to people who need it. But people are not willing to vote in Congress people, so your representatives and senators, who are willing to raise taxes or cut outlays. And it's probably not going to happen. I mean, I work in an industry where people should be politically engaged, and they do not care. They just don't care. So until the U.S. population votes people in who are willing to do that, or there's just some magical consensus on what to do with fiscal policy, which hasn't happened in, disregarding huge crises, which usually don't help the deficit, hasn't happened since maybe, like the early 1900s. There's just no reason to talk about the deficit.